Hello, welcome back. This is election night coverage. I'm Joe Hyde with San Angelo Live. I'm joined on my far right with the senior sage of San Angelo politics, that is Yantis Green. And we have State Representative Drew Darby with us. He's been our state rep since 2006. I remember that election well.
Yes.
I remember that. I remember when you first started, you gave a presentation to Rotary about something about salt water up in the north side, something like saline water plant, and it wasn't worth it. I remember that.
Exactly. You recall I ran for this post in 2002 and lost.
Yep.
That's right. You lost the first time,
Lost the first time.
and you went into depression and all the moods of losing an election.
I did. I exhibited all those traits and found my way back to the trough for another dip.
But you've been there for a long time. You've been there through a lot of I guess changes in state politics over the years. You think about 2006. That's when you had Kiki Friedman running against Rick Perry
Exactly.
for governor. Remember
Exactly.
that? Weren't those the days? I mean, and today Kiki Friedman, something weird like that, would be in the Democrat Party. You know?
Exactly. He was quite a character.
He was a character, and you know, and they actually kind of worried Perry a little bit. I think Perry was. He would never admit it, but he was thinking, well, he might make some inroads here.
Well, Rick treated Kiki with respect that he deserved. I mean, he knew that Kiki had an audience.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
he treated him with respect.
Oh, yeah.
Right. Anyway, so did you ever think when you get elected state rep, or I even think congressman, with these offices with a 2-year span, where you have to constantly be getting reelected, which is very difficult, I would think. But after a while, you kind of become an institution, and you did until this year.
Well, I've had opposition most every election cycle.
Oh, come on, Lynette Lucas doesn't count. You move that back. But anyway, I mean, you've had some.
I have had some opposition.
But you had some very serious opposition this time.
Well, I had seriously funded opposition.
Right, right.
I think at last count,
Where's that?
around $3 million was trying to spend.
I hear a loud boom. You hear that? We got some bass up there. We're gonna work on the sound real quick. We gotta fix that. You know, after the sound was working so good, and then all of a sudden, you change something in one thing. You got it fixed? All right, we're good, fixed. Anyway, we're talking about the well-funded opposition.
Yeah.
Did you think you were gonna lose?
Well, you know, I had faith in my district. I worked hard, and I built the trust up from the people in the district. So I thought I've done some good things over the years, and,
Right.
and I think the voting public heard me out on that and sent me back for another term.
Well, you did really well, except you lost Big Spring, right? When did
I
Big
did
Spring?
about 900 votes.
Yeah, and Big Spring. That must be tough. Now you just don't go to Big Spring anymore.
No, I do go to.
Oh, you had to double down on Big
Double
Spring.
down on Big Spring. Yeah, that's right.
Looking ahead, well, let's talk about. Man, we keep getting that buzz. Prop A, San Angelo ISD passed Prop A.
Great. I just saw Taylor Kingman on his way out.
Yeah.
He gave me the good news, and that's very encouraging. I congratulate the city. What they've done here is pull down more state dollars.
Right.
They cobbled together some local tax dollars without increasing the tax rate, but yet able to pull down another $4 million in state funding, and I think that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
I mean, the extra $4 million. What basically happened was we're going to raise that M&O rate by 3 cents. That'll give us about $2.1 million. The state will match it with $4.3 million, so that's a $6-point-something million benefit to the coffers of the school district, which allows for raises, which really hadn't happened in the last couple of years.
Exactly.
So-
And you know, one of the disappointments we had in the last session, we weren't able to use part of the surplus of this state to provide what I think is critical funding for our public schools.
Explain to everyone how that happened. You hear about this from, like, you know, Frisco ISD, a lot of these bigger school districts are actually running deficits right now because they were anticipating that money from House Bill 1, and it didn't
Correct.
happen. So explain how it died.
Well, we began the session with almost $30 billion in surplus. And we made promises to the education community that we would put much needed resources into public education, which I consider to be the most important function of state government, is providing a quality public education for the young people of Texas. And so we made promises. The statewide elected leaders made promises. And
When you say a statewide elected leader, that's like Ken Paxton and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick.
More particularly the governor and lieutenant governor.
Right.
Lieutenant governor presides over the Senate, and of course they made projections that we were going to contribute to funding public education in a meaningful way.
I think when that happened, I think that's the first time I heard that the basic allotment per pupil has how the state, one of the mechanisms, the funding mechanisms, probably the primary one.
Yes.
Has been about $6,200 per kid, set in 2019. I heard someone statewide say, well, maybe we haven't raised that in 5 years, it's time to raise it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the way, the mechanism by which the state can has a rising tide that floats all boats is through the basic allotment, and so that's where the Texas House was focused on giving more in the basic allotment. When you look at real dollars from 2019 to present, a lot of people claim we're giving more and more money to public education. The reality is, in 2019 dollars, we're $10 billion under the funding level.
So even the 2019 dollars, that 6,200 was not enough back then.
It's not enough, and so
Because our school district was saying that they, if you adjusted for the $6,200 of inflation, it would be worth $1,200 more today, so $7,400. And they're saying we're missing out on that, which is a lot of money for the. I mean, you multiply that by 13,000 students, that's 5.6 million or something. That's a lot of teacher calories.
I would
Actually,
characterize
it's 15.6 million. I'm sorry, 15.6 million.
almost every state representative and senator were committed to giving more resources to our public
So
schools.
why did
You
you stripped out the voucher thing out of HB1? Why did it go to committee and die? Was Dave Phelan somehow guilty, or who was guilty of that?
The public education chair, Brad Buckley, sent it back to committee, and we weren't able to vote on teacher pay raises without a voucher, part of the package.
So basically, they really were holding.
They held it hostage.
They were holding this
Yeah.
$7 or $8 billion in extra funding hostage.
So we reneged on the pledge that we made to public education in Texas by not providing increases in the basic allotment. And people in last school year, they gave necessary raises to teachers, banking on getting the money from the
Right.
state. And so they had to carry forward those promises, and we reneged on our promise. And that's what's so discouraging about the whole situation is we had the money, it was set aside in the budget for major teacher pay raises and school safety issues.
Mm-hmm.
We required each school to implement safety measures, and yet we promised them the money to pay for that, and yet we did not deliver on that promise.
You know what we're doing in San Angelo ISD? This is just off the cuff. They talked about it at City Council today. The school district, out of that Prop 8 money, is going to be able to pay the city to man some officer billets, police officer billets, so that we can put a police officer on every campus.
Yeah.
Now that's a way to share resources between
Absolutely.
two municipal type governments and not raise taxes and not set up your own, ISD police force, that kind of thing. I think that's just the way to do it. So efficient.
Absolutely. We saw after the Uvalde shooting, that we wanted a police officer, resource officer in every campus in this state. And we told schools you had to do it.
Right.
And we told them we were going to send them the money to do it, but yet we didn't deliver the money. And so that's why I congratulate the voters of San Angelo ISD for their foresight in approving Prop 8.
All right, so everyone insults you and says you're not a real Republican sometimes, right? So did you vote for Kamala or not?
Hey, you can ask me who to vote for.
Oh, you're going to pull a Lane Carter on me and say,
you can.
as a judicial officer, I cannot tell you who I voted for. No.
I voted for the Republicans.
You voted for the Republicans,
Yes,
good deal.
Absolutely.
And it's not fair for me to even say that because you were one of the founders of the Tom Green County rebirth of the Republican Party.
Absolutely.
Post-Reconstruction.
In 1978, I helped organize and conduct the first Republican primary held in Tom Green County in 1978.
Wow.
So I'm proud of that.
You think
I've been a Republican before there were Republicans in Tom Green County.
So you basically, you were one of the guys that converted all the Democrats to Republicans back then.
Yeah, but you know, Democrats, I tell this in all factuality that Democrats were in control of the state in the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and some of the 80s. They built the infrastructure of the state. They built the interstate highway system. They built the schools, the hospitals, the bridges. Democrats built all that.
Ever since
but there were conservative Democrats and there were liberal.
Exactly. But
there were
it
liberal
happened when Governor Koch, of all people, had an armed insurrection and kicked the Republicans out of the governor's mansion back in 1871 or whatever it was.
During Reconstruction.
Yeah. That was the end of Reconstruction.
Yes.
But
no, so I think when you have people that are focused on the infrastructure needs of this state, I want to work with all of them. I don't care what their political affiliation is. If they want to fix the roads in this state, if they want to make sure we have enough water, especially out here in West Texas, if they want to make sure we have good educational system, if they want to make sure we have good hospitals, I'm supportive of that. And that's what I think politics ought to be about, is delivering infrastructure needs back to the citizens.
But hasn't the Democrat Party left the reservation? I mean, can you trust working with a progressive Democrat?
Well, since you're trying to characterizing all Democrats are progressive,
I don't know.
I will
I
tell
think
you
they
some
are.
of my strongest allies in the Texas House are South Texas Democrats that care about roads, they care about water, they care about schools, they care about hospitals, they care about so rural. This is really in Austin. It's not so much about Republicans and Democrats. It's about rural and urban. That's the divide in the Texas House. People that want to live in cities want rural resources. They want our oil, gas, food, fiber, hide, hair. All of that is in rural Texas.
And we have less reps than Harris County.
We have 17 reps representing 2/3 of the land mass of Texas.
Right.
That is everything lying west of I-35. There's 17 of us. So you can tell there are 25 in Harris County alone.
And that's Houston.
And that's Houston. So automatically we're at a disadvantage.
Yeah.
We're at a disadvantage, and so we have to work.
We're going to move these microphones around.
Okay.
You think that's what it is? That's what changed. I'll put that thing in the middle. And now it worked. No. Woo, baby. We have the sound issue. It's either PowerPoint or it's the sound. One of the two. But we're still working it. Let's see if you touch it. I was touching it. It was work. I see the operator down there. Ladies and gentlemen, we're taking this.
Sheriff, would you take control of this?
Yeah. Sheriff Hanna walked in and look what happened. What kind of gadgets do you have on you, Sheriff, that turns my speakers into mush? All right, I think we got it working.
Russian interference.
Russian interference. Collusion. Russian collusion. Anyway, we're talking about the Harris County has 25 reps and we have 8.
And we have 17.
And you're saying that you still can work with Democrats who are rural Democrats. But what about these crazies? I mean, you have so many crazies, and they say these crazy things. And I think I know what broke it. I think I know what broke it. It was the transgender issue. It broke it. People don't want to build 3 bathrooms in their high schools.
No.
You know, they don't want their kids subjected to that stuff. I think that's what broke it.
Well, I would just tell you that we have 150 members of the House, and as of today, there were 87 R's and 63 D's. So in order to get things passed, you have to have 76.
Right.
Well, I can't get all Republicans to care about water issues in rural Texas.
Right.
But I can get South Texas Democrats, East Texas Republicans, Democrats, and we work together to form a coalition that care about infrastructure. And so it's not about party ideology, it's about the rural versus urban divide in this state. And that's the real challenge facing politics in Texas, is people want to live in cities. And they want all the amenities. They want electricity.
Right.
They want to go to the light switch and flip it on. Well, guess where that electricity is generated?
West of I-35.
West of I-35. Guess where the hydrocarbons are used to natural gas to power the electric generation.
Right.
It's developed out here in rural Texas. I mean, there's not one thing that city folks enjoy in their lifestyle that is not developed in rural Texas. The last time I checked, they don't grow beef cattle in the back of the HEB in San Antonio.
Although I've seen beef cattle just north of Brookshire by Houston.
Okay.
Now, but very lush land. Very lush land.
Exactly. Well, I mean,
But not enough. Not enough beef cattle.
But you know, we get caught up in this ideological warfare, but in the end, the people in your listening audience, the people that live and work in the Contra Valley, they want people that focus on delivering quality of life issues for them, and which allows them to live in a community like San Angelo or Big Spring.
All right, what's your prediction? Ted Cruz?
Yeah,
Ted, he's already won. I didn't know Colin. I thought Colin Allred was going to do a little bit better.
I haven't seen the results. What was the final?
Well, what we got? There we go. Oh, we're talking to the Christoffel School Board. Y'all just got it up. Hey, do you want to go over the results real quick? Let's flip to the results, James. You feel free to comment on anything.
Okay.
Going back here, Donald J. Trump. By the way, this is with all the mail-in and all the in-person early voting, and we don't have any election day totals, but Donald Trump's leading Tom Green County 74%. Now, the interesting thing is, I think Midland they're going to be over 80%. And I think Lubbock County will be over 80%. But Tom Green County is at 74%. Next, Ted Cruz. Here we go. Tom Green County mirrors Donald Trump. I guess what I was saying when I was saying Ted Cruz wouldn't do as well as, was going to be in trouble, was I was thinking that Ted Cruz would not perform as well as Trump. But he performed here in the county exactly the same. Let's go to the next one. Christy Cranick is going to be your next railroad commissioner, it looks like. Beat the Democrat and the Libertarian and the Green Party candidate. That's in order right there for Catherine Colbert and Hall Dunlap and Eddie Espinoza. Let's go to the next race. This is Justice Supreme Court Place 4, and it looks like the Republican John Devine is going to win. Remember Beto? And everyone said, everyone said Beto was going to beat Ted Cruz and all that kind of stuff. But the thing that Beto did do is he flipped the Third Court of Appeals from 100% Republican to 100% Democrats.
Yeah.
And what kind of impact? I mean, that's
a huge impact for our court.
The Third Court of Appeals is what the Texas legislature has to get. I mean, if someone wants to sue you,
every state agency has to appeal those decisions to the Third Court of Appeals.
And we flipped it. Beto flipped it from Republican to Democrat.
Yeah.
But at least the Supreme Court's doing good. I believe David Schnick is presiding judge, Court of Criminal Appeals. Now, the Court of Criminal Appeals is different from the Third Court of Appeals. The Criminal Court of Appeals is kind of like the Supreme Court for all criminal things. So most criminal appeals don't go to the Texas Supreme Court. They go to the Court of Criminal Appeals. And one of the interesting things about the Court of Criminal Appeals this year is in the primaries, Ken Paxton formulated the whole thing in his image. He primaried, I think, 3 of the judges and got them out of there. And so these guys are now winning. So David Schnick is a Republican, defeated Harley Taylor. Gina Parker is another person who was Paxton, with 76%. I mean, we're winning the Criminal Court of Appeals. Next one. This is place 8. Lee Finley is another one that was on the Paxton crew. And the next one, we got the State Board of Education, District 15. Aaron Kinsley is a Republican. He's a really good guy, Air Force vet. Although he flew like C-130s or something, or C-141s or C-17s. We call him a fatty driver, but he's soundly going to win. He's got a good head on his shoulders. Next, we got the Justice Third Court of Appeals. This is the Third Court of Appeals we talked about before. Mr. Darby. John Messenger is the, I believe he's the Republican. We need to put Republican, Democrat. Yeah, he's a Republican. So it looks like in Tom Green County, at least, we're going to send a Republican back. Let's go to the next one. Tom Green County Commissioner Precinct 1. Drew, do you believe Danny Cardenas got 35% of the vote?
No.
You can't believe that? All right, so it looks like so far, and that's a lot of votes. I mean, you think that's early voting and mail-in voting? That's a lot of votes right there for that thing. So 65 to 30, is that 65 to 35? All right, let's go to the next one. This one was close. And of course, we do have Mr. Commissioner Rick Bacon here. We'll get him up here in a minute and talk about his strategy for winning. Defeated Democrat Mercedes de la Cruz. Let's go to the next one. Miles ISD School Board election. Now they're going to pick the top two. Looks like Melissa Hohensie. Say it again, Ray. Hohensie is 40%. And your next one down there is Dean Burns, top two. Next, Water Valley ISD School Board election. You got to pick 4 of those. So your top 4, it looks like Jennifer Weiss, followed by Clay Lang, and then Wade Bannister. Did I get that right? Maybe a little tie between Chris Tipton and Bannister. Basically, top 4. Cristobal ISD. First one we got to look at is Coco Simpson, 14%. And she's right behind Cody Gins. So your top 3 there. So it looks like it's going to be Cody, Coco, and Diego. Does that sound right?
Looks like.
I can't see from this angle. But y'all can see that.
Jana Aguirre.
Huh?
Jana Aguirre. But, okay.
Oh, yeah, Jana Aguirre's at 15%. All right, so, man, it looks like Cody, Diego, and Jana.
Yeah.
Coco might just miss it.
Yep.
But you never know. The in-person day on election day voting might put her over the top. Next. This is San Angelo ISD Proposition A. This is moving your 3 cents from INS over to M&O, basically 60-40. Passed by pretty good margin.
Good. Encouraging.
Next, Miles ISD Proposition A, which is a several $million bond to build or fix their middle school and their high school and build a cafetorium. And it looks like it is going to pass.
Yep.
I think that's the last one of all that.
Okay,
all
that's
right.
the last one.
Let's Drew Darby, what do you think about this election? Are you happy Trump won?
I'm glad it's over.
If Trump is going to win? Do you think Trump's going to win? Huh? You think Trump's going to win? I haven't, we've been up here on the stage. I haven't been able to look at the Trump, so we're going to.
I've not seen anything.
Yeah, we need to look. I just saw a lot of momentum. Also, I think, all the criticism, and we've talked about it. Even the rich guys in San Angelo criticized Trump last time for being kind of selfish. And but this time he seemed like he reached out more and he listened more and he ran a better campaign. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree.
I think Trump is kind of the Trump 2.0 is much better than 1.0.
Yeah. I read an interesting figure that they estimate $16 billion has been spent on the presidential race.
$16
billion.
How could you imagine raising $16 billion?
No.
I couldn't.
And the Cruz race has cost $160 million between him and Allred.
To put that in perspective, that's like the city budget. It's about the city budget with the water department.
Yep.
Anyway, Drew Darby, state representative for District 72, represents San Angelo and all places between here and Big Spring and all the way out to almost Brownwood. Coleman. There you go. You got to get all the cities in there, otherwise they'll say I'm cutting them. Thank you for coming on.
Absolutely.
I'm Joe Hyde with San Angelo Live. This is the Yantis screen on the right. We're broadcasting live from the ArcLight Bar and Grill. Y'all are welcome to come out. We'll be here until they declare Trump the winner.